Hello guys, today we're going to talk about the sell to agent strategy. The agent price or bank price is the minimum price for which you can have a guaranteed sale when you put a player in the market. For this player, for example, this price is this. If I put him on the market and check this box here, in case no one bids on him, he will be removed from the game and I will receive the bank price. There is a 6% deduction on it, as you know, but it's like this for any sale you make. Then I will not receive this value, but this value less 6%, the sales tax. In order to calculate the bank price of a player, you should use the formula you will see on the screen now. This is the formula for outfield players and this is the formula for goalkeepers. It's the same formula, but for goalkeepers they just multiply for 0.75. As you see, it is based on the skill index and the age of the player. The age should be converted to decimals before you put in the formula. As the age increases, as players get older, the bank price decreases. As the skill index increases, as players get more skills, the bank price also increases. Since the skill index has an exponent 1 and the age has an exponent 2.5, we can see that the age contributes more to the decrease of the bank price than the skill index contributes to its increase. If you don't understand what I said, it's okay, don't worry. Just keep in mind that the age is more determinant to the bank price than the skill index. After you buy a player, you can only sell him after half a season, 6 months in the game or 6 weeks in real life. If you want to know more about transfers, check the video you see in the cards now. There are some investing strategies in which you buy a player and sell later for his agent price. These are the so-called sell-to-agent strategies. I will list some options that I thought about regarding this strategy, but there could be variations which I didn't include in this video. It's based on experience, so you can always adjust something here and there to suit your view of the game, what you face in your club. The point of this strategy is to make profit, so you should make the best profit you can. In order to calculate your profit, you should use this simple equation. It will be your sale price times 0.94 to deduct the 6% tax minus the price you paid when you bought the player minus the wage, which is his wage times the number of weeks you kept him in your club. This result for the profit, obviously, should be positive, otherwise you're getting a loss, not a profit. And the higher the better. The more profit you make, the better. You need to make some simulations to reach your conclusions, whether it is worth to buy a player or not. And to help you with that, there are different ways. An easy one is to use a trader's calculator, which is a script that I showed you in previous videos. If you don't remember or if you didn't see the videos, check what you see in the cards now. Then you can learn more about this powerful tool. First of all, the first option you have is to work with bloom players. In order for you to get the best of these strategies, you should understand well how the development of players work. Then if you have any doubts about it, if you're not sure about how everything works in this topic, check the playlist you see in the cards. There are lots of videos there talking about the development of players. In this case, I will list 3 variations here. The first one is if you buy a player which is being sold for a lower price than the agent price, then you keep him for 6 months, which is the minimum you should keep, and sell him for agent price later. In this case, you should preferably look for players who are younger than 29 years old, because after this age, the players start losing skills. Then you may end up having loss because you may sell for an agent price which is lower than the price you paid. It may not be easy to execute this strategy as most managers are aware of the agent price. Then they have no reason to sell players for a lower price than the agent price. However, some managers may not understand how this works well. Then you can take advantage of this and make some profit. The second variation is to buy a player for agent price and sell for agent price again later, after 6 months, as the agent price will be higher. In this case, you should preferably make a single bet, like the player is on offer for agent price. You bet once, which will be over the agent price already, and that's it. If anyone covers you, you just give up. Or you can go up a few bits, price one or two bids only. Okay, because if you go too far, your profit in the end may be too little, not worth it. And the third variation is very similar to the previous one. When you buy players for the agent price, but you hold him for more than 6 months, then you should make the simulation to see whether it is worth to keep for longer or to sell after 6 months. It's up to you, it depends on the player you're analyzing. In the case of these two final strategies, you should look for players with higher TI, like at least 4, 5, maybe 3. You have to simulate, okay? Because if the TI is too low, just 1 or 2, it shouldn't be worth. You're probably not gonna make much money. Maybe you'll even lose money. Next, we have strategies involving blooming players. In this case, you should try to buy for agent price once more. You can go a few bets up, maybe a bit more. Maybe you can be 3, 4, 5, or even more times. It depends on the player. You have to analyze to see how far you should go. Then you sell the player at the end of the bloom. In this case, I'm talking about B1, B2, or B3 players. B1 means players who are in the first year of bloom, B2 in the second year of bloom, and B3 in the third year of bloom. The more months of bloom the player has ahead, the more profitable the investment should be. However, you will take longer to get your profit. Then you need to see what's more interesting for your club. Having less money, less profit now, or waiting longer and making more money later. Finally, as the last option, I listed the not blooming players. In this case, I divided in two variations. First, you have the not blooming players over 19 years old. It means that you're talking about late bloomers who didn't start blooming yet. In this case, you should buy for agent price. You could go some bets over, even considerable amount of bets, and you sell in the end of the bloom for a higher price, agent price again. It should be profitable in a long term. But, as I told in the previous variation of the blooming players, it will take longer for you to get your money. You have to wait for more than 3 seasons, since the bloom of any player lasts for 3 seasons. Then it's a very long term investment. You should see whether it's worth it for your club at the moment or not. And the other variation is to buy players who didn't start the bloom yet and are under 19 years old. In this case, we are talking about late bloomers or normal bloomers who will start blooming at the age of 19. And here, the idea is to buy for agent price or a few bets over, not too many, and sell at the age 18.11. Here we are gambling with the player's teen TI, the teen training intensity, which is the training intensity the player gets around the age of 16, 17, when he goes from teenager to become an adult. If you want more details of it, check the playlist about the player's development. I explain it in deep details there. Okay? So, even though the players are not blooming yet, between 18 and 18.11, they have high TI. Then you can make some profit on it. You buy a player for 18, 18.1, 18.2, and you sell in the end of their 18s for a higher price. Let me make an example of simulation for you to illustrate what I just said. Let's use this guy. Let me show you his graph. As you can see, he's a normal bloomer who started blooming at the age of 18, and currently he is in his second year of bloom. Okay, then I'm going to make a simulation using the trader's calculator. Here he's getting 24, last time he got 23. I will be a bit pessimistic, sometimes it's good for a business, and I will set an average TI for him during the second year of bloom of 21. Seems okay. In the third year of bloom, sometimes the TI drops, sometimes not, but I should consider the worst situation. Then I will consider that he will have 19, in 19 no, 17 in TI for the third year of Bloom. Then okay. As you know, in the traders calculator, I cannot divide two periods, like put a number for the second year of Bloom and other one for the third year of Bloom. Then I have to take the average. Since I consider 21 for the second year and 17 for the third year, the average will be 19. Let me put it here. And the number of weeks, currently he's this age, so he has 5 more months to finish the second year and 12 in the last year. It means that there will be 17 more weeks to go. Okay, I don't know if it's too fast. I think it's okay, right? Any questions you can write in the comments. Then I click go. And the trader's calculator tells me this. Is his current aspects, okay, and in the future, in the end of his bloom. His bank price is currently this, and his future bank price would be this. If I sell him for this price in the future, considering the deduction of the 6% for the sales tax and the wages I'm going to pay, this is the profit I would make. But remember that these wages here are considering this wage here only. If you want to be more precise, you should update this wage for the next season. Okay? I explained how to do this in the traders calculator video. If you want to see how to make it, go back there in that video. In this case, just for an example, I will not change this wage, okay? To make things faster. Then I would buy for this price, and this would be my profit. It means that if I bought this guy, for example, for 13 million, 15 million, 16, maybe even 20, it would still be a good deal. I could make 10 million profit after 17 weeks. It's not that much if you think 10 millions, but consider that you make it for 20 players, for example. It's 200 million. You can make for more players. That's how you make profit. If you pick one by one, your profit may be low, but you have to gain in the quantity. You have to do this strategy to many players. Then you make money. Also, don't forget to take your training grounds into consideration when you make this simulation. Otherwise, you may overestimate your profit and end up having losses. This is a great way to get money in the game, but it is not the only one. Actually, it should not even be your priority. There are other important aspects of your finance that you should take care and give even more attention than this strategy. If you want to know how to properly manage your finance, check the playlist you see in the card now. You will find all my videos related to finance. Then you can improve your knowledge in this aspect of the game. For the next season, I plan to apply this sell to agent strategy on my extra team. I have a series of videos dedicated exclusively to this team. If you are not following the series yet, it's time to start. Check the videos you see in the cards. In the next videos of the series, I will give more details about how I will apply the sell to agent strategy in the extra team. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you understood everything. That's all for this video, guys. If you have questions, write them down below. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. See you soon.